welcome to my channel. I am Courtney Noel, and clearly I am Courtney Noel. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are an OD but a goldie, hey girl, hey boy, hey, welcome back to my channel. I normally have on a scrub top, but today I don't. But this is going to be a nurse related video. So if you are new to healthcare or new to the hospital and you're wondering like what's going on with hospital case management, if you are a nurse and you're interested in switching specialties, maybe you're a bedside nurse and you're thinking about getting into hospital case management, this video is for you. And if you just want to be plain old nosy, that's cool too. Go ahead and stay tuned to this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and ring my bell, ring my bell, ring-a-ling-a-ling. Ring my bell so you can stay notified of my weekly videos. So I wanted to talk about, and it's so funny because God works, like God gives me topics to talk about, because sometimes I'd be like, I don't even know what to come on here and say, but God gives me topics and sequences to make videos. And what's so crazy about it, I'm going to screenshot it here and put it here, that somebody requested that I explain this, and this was literally on my agenda or on my list of to-dos to record a video for you all. So I wanted to talk to you guys about under the specialty of hospital case management. And if you're interested in knowing the different specialties within case management, I'll link it up here. Go ahead and watch that and then come back here. But specifically, we're going to talk about hospital case management because it's its own subspecialty. And within hospital case management, you can operate under different types of models. And so either a case management department operates under a dyad model or a triad model, or both at the same time. It just depends. So for me, when I got introduced to case management, I started out in utilization review. My first job at utilization review, I was thrown into covering peds, NICU, mother baby, and the women's center. So I had a bunch of different floors, and on certain floors, like for the pediatric floor that I covered, I operated in a triad model, but for the NICU and the peds, I operated as a dyad model. And then if I covered for my coworker who was over the women's center, that was a triad model as well. So I've been able to operate under each model. So that's why I said it can be, both things can exist at the same time in the same facility. It's just based on your facility needs. So let's get into it. What is a dyad model? A dyad model is basically where you have a nurse case manager and a social worker monitoring the care of the patient across the continuum while they are there for their hospital admission stay. So the nurse case manager is responsible, and this is loosely because sometimes the lines are blurred and it can happen differently in different places. So in this particular facility, when you have a dyad model, the nurse case manager really overlooks the utilization portion. They do utilization reviews. They do the progression of care, so they're making sure that they're driving down the length of stay and that this patient is progressing through and moving through the continuum of their stay while they're in the hospital. And sometimes they can be they have to be a part of the discharge planning as well. But the bulk of the discharge planning is really done with the social worker. They're responsible with discharge planning and transitioning the care of taking this patient from an acute care setting to a subacute care setting, whatever that may be. If that patient needs to go to a skilled nursing facility, inpatient rehab facility, if that patient is going home and needs DME, in the dyad model, that is what the social worker would be responsible for. Also for complex social cases. So if you have a person that maybe, we call it complex, if the patient has a long length of stay and we're trying to figure out who's going to pay for what and what social services are provided for that patient, that's more of a social worker type situation. So that's how a dyad model can function. But sometimes you could be in a dyad model and you could be the nurse case manager responsible for the entirety of the care, and the social worker can be operating and be responsible for the entirety of care. You just have discharge planners. So it really kind of depends on your facility, but in generally speaking, in a dyad model, the nurse case manager again is responsible for the level of care, which is the utilization review part, and also responsible of the progression of care, like moving this patient from admission to discharge, and then the social worker is responsible for the transition out of there and any other the social issues that comes with that. Okay. Now let's move on to the triad model. So with the triad model, you have the nurse case manager, you have the utilization review nurse, and you have the social worker. And when you have these models, it's important to note that it's collaborative. Everybody is supposed to be working together to move this patient through to wherever they're going. Okay, and as you nurses know, discharge planning starts on admission, and that is true for every patient, especially in a case management world. So again, in the triad model, you have a nurse case manager, you have a utilization review nurse, and you have a social worker. So in this model, the nurse case manager is responsible for progression of care. So they're going to be making sure that, okay, if there are tests that this patient needs, say for instance you have a person who might need an MRI, and the physician wrote discharge once MRI is completed in red, and you got this patient sitting, it's been over 24 hours, the nurse case manager is calling MRI like, what's going on, like we need to get this because his discharge is dependent on this, we need to get this imaging immediately. They progress the patient through the continuum of care through their hospital stay. The utilization review nurse is helping the physician determine the level of care and making sure that the patient is in the appropriate level of care prior to discharge, and making sure that also assisting the nurse case manager with the progression of care. Like, okay, listen, this patient been here 3-4 days, it's not meeting criteria, what's our plan, how are we going to discharge this patient, do what's pending, so we can collaboratively work to get this patient out. And in this model, the social worker again is really assisting with the transition of care, moving the patient out, to where they're gonna go, making sure that's a seamless transition, whether it's home, whether it's an LTAC, whether it's a skilled nursing facility, an assisted living facility, or whether the patient is going home. The social worker is there to address those needs post admission to the hospital. And even if there's some social services, maybe maybe the patient like, child, I ain't got no ride home, I need a bus ticket. Your social workers are the ones who are going to be handling that. So these models, like I said, can happen. You can have a dyad model in place and a triad model in place at the same time in the same facility. And I don't necessarily think that one is better than the other. I think it depends on the needs of the facility. I think now to me, it's probably more imperative for facilities to have a nurse specific for utilization review, because reimbursement is tied to that. So it's better to have a utilization review nurse focusing on the reimbursement part, and also having a nurse focusing on progression of care at the nurse case manager. And if these all things can function together beautifully, you should be able to drive down the length of stay at your facility. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video was informative. Drop comments below. Shout out to the person who requested this video. Like, I hope this was informative. If you have any questions, just drop them below as well. Most importantly, I want you to know that I love you. I love you so much, but Jesus, he loves you so much more. God bless you.